Hello, everybody. My name is Patrick, and I decided to share a story that I consider to be pretty funny about back when I used to hang with my old fake martial artist friend. Now, something that he would constantly go on about is belts don't matter. It doesn't matter what degree of belt you are, all that matters is how good of a fighter you are. Completely ignoring the fact that belts typically should show what skill level you are at in a style. So, for instance, a black belt should typically be better than a white belt. Is it possible that a white belt can beat a black belt? Yes, if he's had training in many years, for many years across like different styles or whatever. But generally, a black belt in a subject should have more knowledge in a subject than a white belt. But the real reason that he would constantly go on about this like belts don't matter thing of his was because he wasn't a black belt in his style, and he was actually very insecure about it. And I know that because he would bitch to me constantly about it. And I remember one day I got sick of his bitching about how he's like, oh man, it's bullshit that I'm not a black belt in my style. Like, first of all, let it go. It was a McDojo that you trained at like fucking 8 years ago or some shit. But secondly, I offered a solution where I was like, why not just go train anybody, anywhere, and pick up your black belt? And he was like, that would take too long, and they'd make me start over as a white belt. And that's bullshit. I should be a black belt by now. And I was like, well, why not train at, like, I don't know, like, those Taekwondo dojo chains that you see everywhere. Karate for kids. Yeah, like, why not train there? I hear you can get, if you train, uh, constantly or whatever, you can get a black belt within 2 years. And he's like, that's bullshit. That's still too long. So, I don't know what he was planning with this or whatever, because we wound up driving to the place, and he just walks up to the front desk to the secretary, and she was like, hey, can I help you guys? And he was like, yeah, you see, I should be a black belt, but through a bunch of bullshit I'm not. So I was wondering if you could just give me one. And this woman was like, yeah, I don't think I can do that. And he's like, no, you don't understand. I'm actually like a martial arts expert. I've been training like for many years across multiple styles. And she was like, oh, really? What do you do? And he's like, oh, I do Wing Chun and karate. But then he starts listing off shit that he doesn't even do. He was like, I also did Taekwondo for a bit, and boxing and wrestling and Muay Thai. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna go get my manager now. And so she walks away to go get the head of the dojo, and I pull him aside, and I'm actually like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? You don't do half of that shit. Not even half, most. But I specifically called out Muay Thai because while I have trained him like a day or two in boxing or whatever, and he claims that he did Taekwondo for like a day or whatever, all that shit. I know for a fact that he has never done Muay Thai once in his life before. And he's like, well, I know enough of it. And I'm like, no, you don't. And he's like, it's not that hard. And I'm like that's a quote. He's just like, oh, it's whatever. It's like a worse version of karate. Uh-huh. So I could easily do it. Okay, sure. So then the head of the dojo comes back. And he's like, and he basically calls him out. He's like, listen, man, I'll make you a deal. If you train here for, I think it was like 6 months or something like that, and you display the level of skill you claim to have, I'll give you a black belt. And then John was like, no, that's bullshit. That's still too much time. Oh, yeah. 6 months for a black belt. Oh, man, too much time. What a waste. And the dude even cut it down. I remember because he was like practically haggling with him because I remember he was basically just fucking with him because he wanted to call him out. But it was like okay, fine, 4 months, and if you display the level of skill you claim to have, I'll give you your black belt. And he's like, no, that's still too much time. This is bullshit. And so that was basically the end of the conversation. and we just left. And I'm just left here thinking, what the fuck was the point of that? What was your plan? Did you really think that if you just walked in there and asked for a black belt and like just said, yeah, I just happen to be like fucking an amazing fighter, and just take my word for it, that they would give you it? Honestly, I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. But anyway, that was just a story that I thought was funny, and I thought I'd share with you. Alright, guys, my name is Patrick, and I'll see you next time.